What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to the channel. With the Chaos 10 update for Dungeon Defenders 2, there are new enemies, and there is an enemy that does some healing. So that brought some new shards and mods to the game. For this particular video, we're going to be talking about Anti-Heal Servo. Anti-Heal Servo is going to reduce the healing of enemies by a percentage for 15 seconds. Now, the Chieftain in Chaos 10, of course, does throw down a heal, and one of the ways you can counter this is by using Anti-Heal Servo, but where do you place it? Well, my Anti-Heal Servo has moved around quite a bit so far. I started off putting it on Fissures. It did great. It did an absolutely fantastic job. The trouble with that is you're taking a defense that can be used in a lot of cases as a primary damaging defense, and you're taking damage away from it. So by using anti-heal on Fissures, I felt like that was not just getting the best usage out of my Fissures. After that, I moved it over to Reflect Beams. Of course, we know that walls are quite powerful in the game right now, in Chaos 10 content, and a Reflect Beam is just a natural addition to that. So by having it on my Reflect Beam, any mobs like the Chieftain that built up on walls would get the anti-heal applied to them and make it a little bit of an easier kill. As you see, I have now pulled that off of my Reflect Beams as well. So where did I move it? Well, since the beginning when Destructive Pylon first came out, I have always been a fan of using Destructive Pylon on any 20 DU defense, and I most regularly use it on a Lightning Strike Aura, Oil Geyser, or a Sand Trap. I've used it on all three of those pretty regularly over the years. Lightning Strike Auras are almost always in my deck, though, so I felt like that was a good go-to for where to have that Destructive Pylon on. Now, when you put Destructive Pylon on a defense, you, of course, are making that defense a support defense. So, without a doubt, the Lightning Strike makes a great 20 DU support defense. Still does a little bit of damage. It's not a ton of damage. However, how can we expand this out? Well, we've also got some other great utility shards. We've got the Range Pylon, which is incredible. And now I have Range Pylon and Destructive Pylon on any of my defenses. With quite a few defenses, you're just going to be just short of the range cap unless you use some sort of a range mod or shard. So with that in mind, having that Range Pylon is just a great addition to this support defense to give all of my defenses in the area a little bit more range. Now this is where I ended up putting my Anti-Heal Servo. By doing this, of course, Lightning Strike Aura is a single target defense, so the first thing I needed to do was give up a shard slot to Electric Arcing and make it so the Lightning Strike Aura is now hitting 5 enemies instead of just 1. This makes it so it's applying the anti-heal to 5 enemies at a time. Now, this has been a great addition. It gives me a little bit more range on the anti-heal with most of the builds I use. As I mentioned earlier with the Reflect Beam, instead of relying on it just directly right at the wall, you can now throw that Destructive Pylon Lightning Strike Aura and get a little bit more coverage out of it away from your wall. So this gives you a little bit more coverage on the anti-heal, and it additionally, of course, is applying to 5 targets. Now, I did make what I feel like is one mistake here on my Lightning Strike Aura, and my initial impression was, oh, if I give it more range, then I'm going to be good, right? Because it's going to apply to more enemies. And on certain maps, this is absolutely true. However, I did throw a Defense Range Servo on here as well, which I don't feel like was the right move, and I will probably take that one off. The reason being, of course, is with Defense Range Servo on there, I can't put the Lightning Strikes as close together. So if I've got a map with 2 lanes real close to each other, like, say, Unholy Catacombs, I'm going to want Lightning Strikes for that Destructive Pylon on each individual lane, and I have trouble getting the Destructive Pylons close enough together with that increased range. So, although it is usable on quite a few maps, I just don't feel like this was the right move on this particular relic. However, converting your Lightning Strike Aura over to a multi-target defense with Electric Arcing It's already normally going to have destructive Pylon, and then on top of that, the range Pylon just makes the lightning strikes an absolutely wonderful, wonderful support defense that you can use really on every single map in the game. So that's where I put my anti-heal. Let me know down in the comments below where you put your anti-heal, or if you're using it at all. For normal Chaos 10 content, Chaos 10 expeditions, anti-heal is not really required. It does help, however, if you're going with wall builds, the chieftain is going to heal up at the wall and just get killed again, and it's not really going to be an issue not having anti-heal. However, in the prime incursions, or if you're doing higher tier onslaught, then anti-heal is definitely going to help you out anywhere there is a chieftain present. But that will do it for now. Thanks an absolute ton for watching, and I will see ya next time around. Take it easy.